What's up, everyone? It's John of Video Games in the World with weekly news number 15. It is unbearably cold this weekend here on the East Coast, and it feels like minus 3 degrees. In this unbearable cold, I would not recommend any of y'all to go out today, so stay indoors and stay warm. This week, we've had sad news as Catherine O'Hara, famous for her roles in Home Alone, Beetlejuice, Nightmare Before Christmas, Orange County, and The Last of Us, just passed away. We shall always remember you, Catherine. And the Latino community also suffered a tragic loss as famous Univision anchor Rafael Pineda passed away. Gracias por todo, Rafael. Nunca te olvidaremos y yo espero que Dios esté contigo. Adiós. And now, let us begin the weekly news, gamers and nerds. Hail to the king, baby. On January 29, the popular yet controversial video game Duke Nukem 3D turned 30 years old. This video game was one of the games that popularized the first-person shooter genre alongside Wolfenstein 3D, Doom, and Quake. All of them were popular and equally controversial. Duke Nukem 3D is well known for introducing the series into 3D and the FPS genre, as both of its predecessors were 2D shoot-'em-up video games. The first Duke Nukem was released on MS-DOS in 1991, and it was the first entry in the series. While not as popular as 3D, it established a franchise and was followed by Duke Nukem 2 in 1993. Since Duke Nukem 3D, there have been various other games in the series such as Time to Kill, Zero Hour, Land of the Babes, Manhattan Project, and the weakest game was Duke Nukem Forever. Some of these games were good, others not so much, especially Duke Nukem Forever. The franchise follows the titular character fighting against a hostile alien race bent on conquering the Earth. Duke Nukem was praised for its interactivity of the environments, gameplay, level design, crude humor, and a mix of pop culture satire and lampooning over-the-top action heroes of Hollywood like Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis, and so on. Despite its popularity upon release, the game was the subject of controversy due to its violence, erotic elements, and portrayal of women. The ones that criticized Duke Nukem 3D for such things were politicians, angry parents, religious groups, feminists, and the likes of anti-gaming crusader Jack Thompson. Even if certain groups today call the game outdated for its controversies, Duke Nukem 3D remains one of the most popular games of the 1990s, often cited as a cornerstone of that era of gaming. On its 20th anniversary, Duke Nukem 3D was re-released as Duke Nukem 3D World Tour, which brings back episodes of the original release titled LA Meltdown, Lunar Apocalypse, Shrapnel City, and The Birth. This also includes Legacy Duke Talk and John St. John's redub voice lines and a brand new episode titled Alien World Order, with the voice of John St. John himself. Duke Nukem 3D was a game that introduced me to the FPS genre when 3 of my friends who I used to hang out with played this awesome game. I play this game whenever I want to have fun listening to some of the funniest moments and seeing references to all these amazing action movies from the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. Thank you, 3D Realms, for bringing us such an amazing game series. Judge Dredd is a well-known comic book series that was made in the United Kingdom. The comic book series takes place in a post-apocalyptic United States of America, which has become an irradiated wasteland. Those that survived crowded into megacities, concrete landscapes where people live in the ruins of the old world and the megastructures of the new one. The story is set on Megacity 1, stretching from Boston to Washington, D.C. Outside the walls of Megacity 1 is a poisonous, scorching desert known as the Cursed Earth. The city is rampant with crime and violence, something that the justice system could not control. Law as we know it collapsed. From the ashes of the old order rose a new order ruled by a new elite force, a force with the power to dispense both justice and punishment. They are the police, jury, and executioner all in one. They are the judges, the men and women of the Hall of Justice. One of these judges is the titular character, Judge Dredd. Criminals will quake with fear with a mere mention of his name. Judge Dredd fights for order in a chaotic city without hope. It turns out that Judge Dredd is officially getting a full reboot. It is not a sequel to the 2012 movie or the 1995 movie. Thank God, in the case of the latter. So far what we know about this movie is that Taika Waititi is set to direct with a script by Drew Pearce. What's most unfortunate is that Karl Urban is not coming back. Though it is said that the movie will have the same law, same brutality, and a new era of dread. We shall see. So, Taika Waititi is the one directing this new movie and refreshing it for today. To be honest, I must say that Waititi is a great director known for many accolades and directing Episode 8 of The Mandalorian and directed Thor Ragnarok, which I thought was awesome, but Thor Love and Thunder, it was very uninteresting and boring. Even if they made an effort to introduce a female Thor to the MCU. Given how Thor Love and Thunder was bad, no offense to Mr. Waititi, but I'm actually kind of skeptical about it, to be fair. Let's just hope that it's not comedic like the 1995 Judge Dredd movie that starred Sylvester Stallone. Now, the 2012 Dredd movie with Karl Urban as a titular character, now that was more closer to the source material, as Dredd never took off his helmet, and for capturing the grittiness and brutality of the world of the Judge Dredd comic books. Karl Urban was amazing as a character, and Olivia Thirlby did an amazing job as Judge Cassandra Anderson. Lena Headey was an amazing villain, the feared criminal, Mama. To so many who love the 2012 Dredd movie, it's very criminal up to this day that there was never a sequel. The problem was that the movie was released in the same month as The Dark Knight Rises. Yup, that's the reason why. The Dark Knight Rises got more attention than Dredd since they both premiered in the same month. And of course, The Dark Knight Rises was the most popular of the two. I could imagine a different world where the 2012 Dredd movie had these following sequels and all of them were awesome. Number 1, Dredd. Dredd, The Robot Wars. Dredd, The Cursed Earth. Dredd, Judge Death. Dredd, The Day the Law Died. Dredd, Apocalypse War. And finally, Dredd, A Better World. That could have been awesome to see. Then again, we will never know what it could have been like. Now, if this movie fails, for you, Taika Waititi, judgment time. As you all know, there is a God of War TV series made by Amazon Prime in the works. 2 weeks ago, we learned that Ryan Hurst will be the live-action Kratos. And now, the show has found its own Thor. It's none other than one of the stars of Severance, Olafur Darri Olafsson. Hope I didn't butcher that. He has been rumored to play as Thor for quite some time, and it is easy to see why. He looks exactly like the character. Now, we know in the games that Ryan Hurst was the voice of Thor, and now he's playing Kratos, while Olafur is going to wield the legendary hammer Mjolnir and play as Thor. Thor is the primary antagonist of God of War Ragnarok and is one of the most powerful beings that the Ghost of Sparta has ever fought. It is revealed also that Teresa Palmer will play Sif, Thor's wife, and Max Parker as Heimdall. Another news is leaked that the next God of War project is a 2.5D Metroidvania-style spin-off, taking the series back to its roots, ancient Greece. It will feature a younger Kratos, his rise to power, and his turbulent bond with Zeus. Other insiders claim that the next mainline God of War may leave the Norse saga and dive into Egyptian mythology, opening the door to new gods, monsters, and legends. The Greek spin-off is rumored for a 2026 release, and the next mainline entry will be either next year or later. Right now, nothing is official, but all signs point to the series evolving once again with bold settings, new gameplay styles, and a future that looks anything but quiet. Super Sentai. The long-running Japanese series behind the Power Rangers has now confirmed it's being cancelled after 50 long years on the air. While the Power Rangers is currently in the midst of its own reboot developed by Disney+, Super Sentai is now coming to an end. The president behind broadcast station TV Asahi in Japan has confirmed during a press conference that the Super Sentai series was indeed going to be cancelled following the end of its latest series, Number 1 Sentai Gozyuger, which is the 49th series of the 50-year run. Super Sentai started out in 1975 with its first show, Himitsu Sentai Gorenja, which lasted until 1977. After Gorenja, then came the card-themed Sentai team known as Jack Dengeki Tai, and after that was Battle Fever J, which was international themed. There have been various Sentai teams ever since then, and if I recall correctly, the late Stan Lee wanted to bring the Sentai series Taiyo Sentai Sun Vulcan to the States. Unfortunately, it never happened. Super Sentai would not have a US adaptation until the series Kyoryu Sentai Zyuranger, the basis for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I also remember watching Sentai anniversary specials such as Turbo Ranger versus Super Sentai, Oranger versus Super Sentai, Gao Ranger versus Super Sentai, Bokenger versus Super Sentai, my most favorite, Super Sentai 199 Great Battle, Zyogre versus Ninninger, Senkaiger Red Battle, and Gozyuger versus Boonboonger. Well, since Super Sentai is coming to an end, we gotta thank Tokusatsu for 50 wonderful years. My first time watching Super Sentai was when I was 18 years old watching Dino Thunder. It was the episode titled Lost and Found in Translation, and then I surfed the net and saw how different Super Sentai was from Power Rangers. While Power Rangers are mostly lighthearted and family-friendly, Super Sentai was something else. It had humor, yet it was more mature and grounded compared to its American counterpart. And unlike Power Rangers where the heroes lose their powers, the Sentai warriors would die in battle. Power Rangers will always be in my heart, but Super Sentai is superior given its more mature, grounded, complex, and dark storylines. And now, for the main event. As you all know, Disney is working on the upcoming Power Rangers reboot. The showrunners attached to the reboot of the long-running franchise since 1993 are Dan Schatz and Jonathan E. Steinberg, known for Percy Jackson and the Olympians. This new series is going to have a more grounded and mature tone, with filming potentially starting this year. As of now, Animac actress Peyton Elizabeth Lee is reportedly in final talks to star as the lead Red Ranger in this reboot, and she will lead the team. Although this is not yet officially confirmed by Disney, this casting is a major step in revealing the new and potentially female-led team. Now, many people are saying, finally, a female Red Ranger and the first one to lead. Not exactly. 21 years ago, on Power Rangers SPD, we had a female Red Ranger leading the treacherous A-Squad Power Rangers. Her name was Charlie, and both Jack and Sky were surprised to see a woman being a Red Ranger, while Z and Sid high-fived about it. Sky, the SPD Blue Ranger, laughed at the idea of a woman being a Red Ranger in the first episode, but then, in the final episode of Power Rangers SPD, when he was asked the question once again if he'd follow Sid, the Pink Ranger, if she was chosen to be the Red Ranger, he said that he will follow her leadership. It was a lesson to learn to never judge someone by their outward appearances when it comes to leadership. Another female Red Ranger was featured in Power Rangers Samurai, which, next to Megaforce, is one of the worst seasons ever, and that female Red Ranger is Jaden's sister, Lauren. Lauren only lasted for a few episodes until Jaden returned. And yeah, both Samurai and Megaforce is where Neil Saban really dropped the ball. Shoot. The next female Red Ranger was Amelia Jones in Power Rangers Cosmic Fury. I didn't see Cosmic Fury, some said it was good, others said it was bad. And another female Red Ranger in the Boom comics was a woman called Grace Sterling, the first female Mighty Morphin Red Ranger of that universe of the comics. Spoiler warning from the comics, Grace was the head of the secretarial pool of Nasada and was the leader of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers team of 1969. She and the other chosen Rangers were on a mission to the moon to stop Psycho Green from freeing the evil Rita Repulsa from her prison dumpster. Although the mission was a success and Psycho Green was destroyed, The other Rangers, Jamie Gilmore, Dino O'Halloran, and Nikolai Chukarin, died in battle. She and the Yellow Ranger, a Vietnam veteran named Tarona Washington, were the only survivors and blamed Zordon for the deaths of the other Rangers. Since then, Grace had a deep resentment towards Zordon and believes that the latter's methods of using teenagers with attitude are reckless and unethical. Come to think of it, using teenagers is like turning them into child soldiers, like that's super messed up. Adi Shankar said that best when he made that R-rated Power Rangers fan film. Do I support a female Red Ranger and her being a leader? Of course I support this, man! There have been female Power Rangers that led a team and were not necessarily Red Rangers, such as Delphine, the White Aquitian Ranger, leading the team instead of Ariko, who was the Red Ranger of the Rangers of Aquitar. In Power Rangers Time Force, Jen Scott's Time Force Pink is the primary leader of the team, and she was known as the serious, no-nonsense strategist of the team. In Power Rangers Wild Force, Taylor Earhart, the Yellow Ranger, was the leader of the team before Cole showed up and became the Red Ranger. Kendall Morgan, the Purple Ranger in Power Rangers Dino Charge, was the manager and leader of the team. Now, there will be people who support this, but others will get pissed off at the idea of a woman being a Red Ranger and the leader. Those who get pissed off that a woman leads the Power Rangers team says so much about them, snitching on themselves with their own sexism. If you don't like the idea of a woman being a Red Ranger and team leader, don't watch, that's all. Of course, we all know that these people think that it's going to be woke and pushing an agenda. Well, calling these guys out is like beating an already dead horse to a bloody pulp. Well, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Puedes llevar el caballo al agua, pero no obligarlo a beber. And that is all for the weekly news, everyone. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit that bell next to the subscribe button. This is John of Video Games and the World signing off. Take care, and I will see you all next week. Bye!